Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports once again. This is going to be a bit of a special show tonight. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to have two of our guests from the States chiming in at the same time at one point talking boxing. First of all, I introduce none other than regular to the show and well-renowned trainer, Uncle James Ali Bashir. Uncle, how are we doing?
Everything is going well, aside from all the people that got hurt here and killed here in Vegas. Our prayers go out to those families and all of the people who suffered and got injured in that melee.
Absolutely. How close or how far away were you from that incident?
Well, we were supposed to be down there in that area. That area is a populated area. That area is an area that we always frequent. The night before, we had gone there to watch a water show. So everybody travels through that area. I mean, everybody comes through that area. And we were supposed to go down there, and we opted to stay home to watch the Breeders Perez fight.
Okay.
That's what kept us from going there.
Wow. So how do you think that fight went between Breedis and Prescott? Breedis and Perez, sorry. I was going for Breedis from the start. I didn't think Perez would be able to beat Breedis. What are your thoughts?
I thought it was an ugly fight, and if Breedis fights like that with Usyk, he'll lose. I think it was a clumsy, ugly fight.
Okay. Do you think it's because of the fact that Perez does punch hard and he's a southpaw and that is counterproductive, maybe?
I don't know what it was. I guess the styles didn't mix well, and I just didn't see that Breedis was as effective as he would like to have been, and no one Perez was effective as he would like to have been. Having said that, I don't think that he'll be able to get away with that, we will say.
How do you think?
He's too intelligent.
How do you think? Too intelligent. So how do you think Usyk would approach the Breedis fight then?
Usyk doesn't change. The opponent is the one that's going to have to change for him, but Usyk doesn't change. Usyk fights the same way all the time. Usyk doesn't change. He's a master boxer. He's always in superb shape, and he attacks regularly, and he attacks from different angles. I just don't see that Breedis that I saw in the fight with Perez. I just don't see him being effective against Alexander Usyk.
Okay, so you still put Usyk as your favorite for the cruiserweight title?
Yes. In that tournament, I'd have to put Usyk as uno numero.
What about the other fight, the gentleman who scored the second round knockout? I can never pronounce his name. Doricus. That's it. Doricus. What do you think of his knockout?
I thought that the guy was there to be knocked out. The guy didn't show me any skills. He didn't show me anything special. And Doricus did what was available to him to do to knock him out. This guy got hit with repeated right hands, just constantly getting hit with right hands. All night long, the guy kept getting hit with the same punch, and he was bound to get knocked out because he didn't make any adjustments in the 2 rounds that he was there. I didn't make any adjustments to avoid the right hand, and that was it. He just did what was available for him to do.
On the subject of right hand, why not about left hook with Joshua versus Pulev? What are your thoughts on that fight?
Much to do about nothing. Joshua will knock Pulev out inside of 5 rounds. Fuller style is made for Joshua. Fuller's going to come forward, going to try to put pressure on Joshua. Joshua's going to catch him, and the light's going to go out.
And that'll be that.
Yeah, that'll be it. Joshua's going to crush him.
Okay, let's.
Anthony Joshua's going to crush him.
Let's move on. Let's talk about the Canelo Gennady Golovkin fight. You saw the fight for Golovkin, and I saw the fight for Canelo. Talk us through your views as to why you thought Golovkin won the fight.
Well, Golovkin was the effective aggressor. When I say effective aggressor, he came forward and he was chopping at the bit the whole time the fight was going on. A jab here, a right here and there. You understand? Canelo was fighting in spurts. He was fighting maybe 1 minute, 30 seconds of a round. You can't win a fight like that in my book. Yes, he did some good work. Yes, he made Golovkin miss. You know, yes, he did some good counterpunching, but he did not do it consistently. He did not do it consistently. Golovkin backed him up the whole fight. Golovkin threw much more punches. He made much more contact. In fact, he made the fight, in my opinion. You know, and I think if you look at the punch output, that Golovkin did a far better job than Canelo did. Yeah, Canelo had his moments, but in my mind, you cannot win a fight fighting 1 minute around. And he looked like he ran out of gas. Canelo was a younger guy, but he looked like he ran out of gas around the 7th, 8th round.
So, what about?
I had Golovkin winning that fight. And I didn't have it close. As people would say, oh, it was a close fight. It wasn't close to me. It wasn't close to me. I had Golovkin win the fight 116, 112.
Wow, I had Canelo winning 115, 113. So it's what you like, isn't it? I mean, I thought Canelo was doing good stuff on the inside. His body shots were very good. I thought his uppercuts were nice. I thought he was able to counter.
I thought they were beautiful, but again, he was not consistent. He was fighting 1 minute around, 1 minute 30 seconds around.
However, I thought Gennady Golovkin's punch output, as much as there was many, a lot of the shots were catching the gloves. Canelo was making him miss. So a lot of the output that Golovkin was actually throwing were landing, but they were landing on arms and gloves. They weren't actually connecting on Canelo clean. Whereas you took like Golovkin.
Arms is body punching.
Yep.
In fact, I instruct my fighters to punch arms, chest, everything above the waist.
But the cleaner shots.
Above the waist is legal tender in a boxing.
But those shots are being blocked and parried and slipped and all that sort of stuff. And
he was landing a lot of shots on his arms and on his chest and stuff. You got to consider that.
Of course.
That the fight out.
Of course.
Canelo to fight those minimal rounds.
I have to go back and look at the fight again. Definitely go back and look at the fight again and look at it and consider and have a look. I mean, I haven't seen the fight since I commentated on it. Now, here's a question for you. Which fighter do you know in the history of boxing has been as dominant? This is a question Abel Sanchez gave me. Has been as dominant as Gennady Golovkin in his division with the amount of knockouts and successful title defenses in his division?
I think Marvin Hagler was more effective than Gennady Golovkin against the competition that Hagler fought and Gennady Golovkin fought. There's no comparison because Gennady Golovkin fought a lot of junior middleweights. Lots of junior middleweights. Lots of unknown qualities. Hagler was fighting the who's who of the middleweight division, and Golovkin has had like a merry-go-round, you know? Most of the people that Golovkin has fought, nobody recognizes them. Nobody will remember them. History will not be kind to him because of that. Hagler fought the who's who of the middleweights. You cannot compare Golovkin's record to Marvin Hagler's record. Golovkin looked clumsy in that fight. He looked bewildered in that fight. You know,
Sanchez says that I mentioned Hagler, but he said Hagler's been beaten, and he also said Hagler. And was it he fought Leonard and he fought Burns?
But Hagler was beaten, but beaten by who? Booker Watts, Willie DeWayne Monroe, notable boxers in the middleweight division at that time.
But he said that Sanchez's argument is that Gennady is unbeaten and fought the top of his division.
Marvin came back to knock those guys out. Gennady Golovkin's record, and I'll tell Abel, Gennady Golovkin's, if you put up the opponents that Gennady Golovkin has fought, and you compare that to Marvin Hagler's opponents, there is no comparison. Hagler's opponents will leave Gennady Golovkin's opponents in the dark.
One of the things Sanchez brought up, he also said that you could talk about Gennady pulling people up from weights and fighting low junior middleweights, but you could say the same thing about Hagler. He fought Thomas Hearns, he fought Sugar Ray Leonard, he fought Roberto Duran, all guys that started at lower weight divisions. So
right. But yeah, true, they came up to fight, but they were special. Gennady Golovkin has fought who that was special?
Kell Brook.
Kell Brook was special?
Well, that's what they call him. That's his nickname, special.
Yeah, but because they call him that, he wasn't so special in that fight. And he wasn't so special in boxing. Good fighter, but wasn't special. He wasn't no Marvin. He wasn't no Ray Leonard. He wasn't no Tommy Hearns. He wasn't no Roberto Duran. These were outstanding competitors. And look what Hagler fought prior to fighting those guys. He deserved to fight those guys. Look what Hagler fought prior to that. I mean, Abel's beating the drum for his fighter, rightfully so. But when he goes out and leads the charge, saying that Gennady Golovkin is in comparison to Marvin Hagler, those words will fall on deaf ears.
But he said, who's the most dominant fighter? How many champions do you know that has been as dominant as Gennady Golovkin in their division, winning fights by KO the way that Golovkin is just running through people in his division?
Marvin Hagler. And you know what? I think that Carlos Monzon was more dominant than Gennady Golovkin. And the competition that Carlos Monzon fought.
Okay.
You know, people who don't understand the history of boxing will say, yeah, Gennady Golovkin. I mean, trust me, Gennady Golovkin is a good fighter, but who has he fought that would make him really stand out in the class of Marvin Hagler or Carlos Monzon? Who has he fought? Your dance partners makes the difference. Hagler and Monzon had dance partners. I think Monzon faced off against Rodrigo Valdez. Just that one fight alone makes his competition better than what Gennady Golovkin had. Gennady Golovkin has never had a Rodrigo Valdez on his record.
Okay. Well, the Gennady Golovkin, Abel Sanchez, because every soft he texts me 3 times in the last week. He says, "Have you got an answer?" Yep. I'm still waiting. So he's still waiting. So I might go back to him with Carlos Monzon. But he says the last person in history to be as dominant as Golovkin was O'Sullivan.
Golovkin, like I said, fought mediocre junior middleweights throughout his career. Unrecognizable junior middleweights. Unrecognizable. These guys are not recognizable. These guys weren't household names. They were good fighters, but they weren't great fighters. They wasn't of great quality. They wasn't on the stature of a Roberto Duran, of a Leonard, of a Hearns. No, absolutely not. I mean, he can push that agenda off on people who don't understand, who have no knowledge of the sport. But I have knowledge of the sport. I've been here a long time. You can't push that off on me.
But he said to me that but the one of the arguments was, well, yeah, you tell me a division where a dominant fighter didn't have a weak division around him. He said Mike Tyson. You could talk about Tyson, but who was his best opponent when he was dominating the division? Who did he beat?
I mean, Tyson beat some good fighters. I mean, Tyson was a little dude, though. What little dude like that? Tyson's a little guy. He's fighting big, good guys. Not big, great guys, but big, good guys. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Big, good guys. And for the guy with short arms like that did, short height like that did, he did a masterful job.
Okay. Okay. Again, these are not my words. These are the words of Mr. Abel Sanchez. Let's move on. Big George Foreman has made in the news recently. I don't know if you read the story that he said that he would fight Steven Seagal. He said, I'll do the boxing. You can fight whatever you want over a 10-rounder. What are your thoughts on this with George Foreman and Steven Seagal?
Let's move on to the next question.
I didn't expect it.
I pride myself on being a really good boxing trainer and a boxing fan.
Yes.
And a boxing historian
Yes.
to some degree.
Yes.
And that kind of action makes mockery of the sport.
It does. I don't know what possessed George Foreman to even say something like that. I was wondering maybe you would have some idea, some background history as to why Foreman would even suggest something like this.
It's just nothing to do, nothing else to do.
Okay. Right. Let's talk about the upcoming fights we've got in the Super 8 tournament. We've got this week. We've got Chris Eubank is back this weekend. Chris Eubank's back. He's fighting the Alville, whatever his name is. Do you know anything about him?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay. So, and also we spoke to Rob Brandt, trained by Derek James. How much do you know about him?
Who?
Rob Brandt. He's the only American in the super middleweight tournament.
I have absolutely no idea about who that is.
Oh dear. Okay.
Perhaps I will know after this tournament is over, but I don't know anything about him right now.
Retirement.
He can justify that, starting out at 10 years old, saying that there's no money in fighting Stevenson, saying that he doesn't have the desire anymore. So I guess that he can justify it, but I know me, myself, and other people saying, wow, you're going to go down with the greats, you're at that point now where, okay, now is the time to prove my greatness. Better Beef, you got out there. You got the Better Beef fight. You got the WBC champion.
Or Adonis Stevenson.
Yeah, Stevenson. And then you walk away right at the door. You're right at the door. These are the fights that can push you across the line. These fights can push you across the line because there is some controversy about the first fight with Kovalev. There's some controversy about the second fight with Kovalev. You understand? But these fights, Better Beef and Stevenson, those two fights, I felt that Andre needed to really establish his legitimacy, his greatness. But, he pulled the plug. He said, that's it. That's it. But I'm not happy with it. I won't criticize him for it, because I don't know what his body going through, what his body is going through, what his desires is. If you don't have the desire, then you can't do it.
Okay.
But I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about the decision for me to leave at this point. I thought that this is the time that he'll establish his legitimacy, his legacy, and he pulled the plug. So.
Okay. Let's talk about Sorenko. we've heard the news and the grapevine that he'll be back out late October. Talk to us about that.
Sprinkle's here. He's here in Vegas, and he's getting really, really good sparring against Michael Hunter.
Okay.
And just consistent. I give Sirico credit because he shows up every single day to box a guy like Michael Hunter, which is not an easy task.
Right.
It's a very difficult task for Sirico to box a guy like Michael Hunter. Michael Hunter is a unique fighter, much like a Maurice Harris.
Right.
You know, very much like a Maurice Harris. Hard to box. Very hard to box. Knows all of the tricks. Pulls out all the stops. And Sirico shows up every single day for 6 rounds of boxing against Michael Hunter. And I like that. I like his attitude. I like his willingness to stand up to the plate and face off with a guy like that. I know other guys that would have came up with 1,000 excuses by now saying, hey, this is wrong, that wrong, I don't need this, I don't need it. But Sirico shows up every single time to box Hunter without fail, without any excuse, and gets in with him. And believe me, nobody is, the sparring between the two of them is no gimme. So yeah, I take my hat off to Sirico.
How was
ready for whoever? He'll be ready for whoever steps in that ring.
How was the sparring with him and Stiverne?
Him and Stiverne was good sparring. They only sparred once or twice.
Okay.
And it was good, legitimate sparring.
Okay.
Legitimate sparring.
I saw a lot of pictures of Stiverne and Ruan Visser. Talk to me about that.
They've been getting it in. They've been getting in good sparring. They've been getting in 8 rounds a day, you know.
Okay. And how's
8 rounds?
How's Stiverne's condition been looking for you as the time's gone on?
It's getting better by the day. It's getting better by the day. He's in much better shape now than he was at the very beginning.
Okay.
He's boxing. He's using the ring. He's moving around the ring. He's bouncing. He's energetic. He's enthusiastic. And he's getting good sparring for Ruan, and he, in turn, is good sparring for Stiverne.
I had a conversation with Rick Glazer. You know who Rick Glazer is? Worked with Don King at one point. Matchmaker.
Yeah, I know who he is. I'm not up to the fan club. I'm not up to his fan club, but I know who he is.
Okay, well, he was suggesting that maybe Stiverne is a bit past it. His feet, he don't move his head that much. His feet are too slow. He moves like he's in mud. Too lazy, too inactive, and Brazil's going to probably beat him or knock him out. What do you think?
It's going to be a tough fight. And I told that to Stiverne. I told Stiverne that it's going to be a tough fight, and he has to be prepared mentally and physically for Brazil, because Brazil doesn't know his place. Brazil doesn't know his place. If there is such a thing, Brazil is not one of those persons that knows his place. He's coming to fight.
Okay.
He's coming to fight. With all of the mistakes that Brazil makes, and he makes a lot of mistakes. I don't know why, but in my mind, Brazil has not progressed. In the fights that I've seen him in, I don't see any progression. I don't see any change. Brazil. I think that he's there to be hit. You know, I think that he can be outboxed. It's a lot of errors, a lot of kinks in Dominic Brazil's armor. But nonetheless, he's an enthusiastic fighter. He comes forward, he comes to fight. But he continuously makes the same mistakes. And those mistakes I won't harp on because I don't know what I'm going to have to go against.
Okay.
I don't see any progression. I don't see any progression in Dominic Brazil.
In terms of...
He may beg to differ. But I've watched Dominic Brazil. You know, being a boxing trainer, you got to watch all of the guys in the top 20. And I've watched Brazil, and I don't see any real progress.
In terms of your interaction with Don House, did you give any advice, or was it just a situation of you kind of like step back and watch what they were doing?
I just stepped back and watched what they were doing, you know.
Okay.
But if I see something that needs to change, if I see something that needs addition, I'll go directly to Don and Stefan and tell them.
Okay.
You know, I enjoy their company, so I'll say, well, you need to check this out, you need to check that out, you need to do this, you need to do that. I most of the time I'm quiet.
Right.
When I enter training camp, I'm quiet because when I offer advice to different people, I'm not saying Don or Bermain is like this, but when I've offered advice to people, they always tell me, well, we knew that. We already knew that. And I said, oh, excuse me. You already knew. It took me almost 25, 30 years to learn, but good, you know. And I back off.
Right.
But that's what's wrong with the sport now. That there are so many people in the sport that think that they know. That's one of the reasons why down in Brazil is not progressive. Either he's not being taught right, or he's not understanding what's being taught to him. It's one or the other. But if you look at Brazil's fight from fight to fight to fight, he's making the same mistake. He's getting hit with the same punches. He's making the same exact mistake. So I said, well, what is it? He's not being taught right, or he's not understanding what's being taught to him. Which one is it?
Only he can answer that question.
I don't ego trip about these things. You know, if somebody got some advice to give me, I'm listening. I'm all ears. And I'll weigh it up. I'll take it to the privacy of my own mind, and I'll weigh it up, and I can say, wow, this guy's right. I can use this here.
Okay. There is something I see a lot of trainers do now, and I can't say I'm completely convinced about it. And it could say because I'm old school, but this stick where they've got the boxing glove at the end of it, where it sticks it out like a jab, and they like push it out like an umbrella. What are your thoughts on it?
My thinking is, why use a stick when you can get a human being to do the same thing and more realistic? I get a human being to do the same thing, and it's more realistic. It's not rehearsed. It's not planned. So I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff.
Because you won't face it in the ring.
I'm not a fan of that kind of nonsense.
Yeah, I know. You said before. So Sarinka, his opponent.
There's a lot of approaches that I see in the sport now that I think are much to do about nothing. It's more like, this is some kind of special remedy. This is something better. This is something that only knowledgeable people do. But I'm not a fan of a lot of stuff that goes on. That's a lot of stuff that I don't feel that's essential to me for boxers or for boxing. But I'm out of my business. I stand back, I've only been here 46 years, so what do I know?
I've got a question for you. It comes from Goguja. He says, question. Stefan's best performance was against Ariola in the rematch. Is he anywhere near that condition in camp?
In my opinion, not yet, no.
Okay. And
But he's a very mental guy, he's a very mental guy. And I think people may be deceived by his temperament. He's an easygoing guy until he gets in that ring.
Okay.
Maybe Rick Glazier has a point. You can't keep going forever. But I think that there are some surprises left in Bermain's statue. I think that he's going to fight when he gets in that ring.
Okay. Goguju continues by saying, whoever invented the stick misunderstood the saying stick and move. What do you think about that?
said, I think that people run out of different things to do and to make themselves seem more genius. And I'm not saying every trainer feels the same way, but I just don't understand. I don't understand the stick when you can get a human being to do the same thing and be more realistic. What the stick is somewhat rehearsed to me. It's somewhat rehearsed to me. When you can get a human being to say, you can go out and find a small part and say, I want you to just jab, use a jab. You can pay people to get out there and use a jab, throw punches at the guy, and let the guy slip and block punches as opposed to doing it with a sponge stick. No, I'm not a fan of that nonsense. In my mind, in my opinion, it's nonsense.
It's not something. It's not going to happen in the fight.
All the trainers might say, no, it's not nonsense. And I'm not going to argue with them. But in my opinion, my feeling is I don't do that with my boxers. It's unrealistic. I try to keep my shadow boxing, the mid training, the heavy bag, the speed bag, I try to keep everything as close to reality as possible. I don't want to create scenarios that's unrealistic. When they get in the ring, that they're not going to do it. I want to create a scenario that's going to be realistic, that can execute it during the fight.
Okay. Okay. So Sorenko's next opponent, do you know who that's going to be, or are you still deciding?
No, the matchmaker hasn't come up with the opponents yet.
Okay. Is this somebody who's going to be a semi-live opponent, or is somebody who's just going to be knocked over and around?
Whoever the matchmaker brings, they're going to bring 7 opponents, and I'll choose from which one of them that I want.
Okay.
Sorenko has 3 fights.
Right.
You know, he has 3 fights, and he hasn't fought now in a couple of months. So I want to bring him in at a moderate pace with a moderate fighter.
Okay.
That will give him rounds. I don't care what round he knocks him out in. You know, just put him down and out. But I don't want Joe Q phone booth. You know, I want good fighters. I want guys that's going to test them. That's why I got him boxing Michael Hunt every day.
Right. Can I understand that? Okay.
I'm not playing around. I don't play around with these guys. I'm training the guys. I don't play around. I don't want to go down lollipop lane. You know, just have a record of 30-0 and 28 knockouts fighting nobody. I don't want that. It's meaningless to me. Then you put in the fight. I look back at the career of Blue Savarese.
Yes.
Blue Savarese fought a lot of guys that couldn't fight. And he compiled the record, but when he got in the thick of things,
couldn't fight.
Those guys that could fight, he wasn't doing that well. So I think that is meaningless to bring in bodies. I'd rather have a guy that's 7-4 with the 4 guys that he lost to being good, solid fighters. Because I believe in guiding a boxer the old school way. You say keep a guy undefeated, keep a guy undefeated, keep a guy undefeated. In the meantime, the guy doesn't know how to fight. When you put him in the thick of things, he can't fight. So I want to bring my guys along fighting good competition. If they get knocked down, they lose along the way, hey, that comes with the territory. And they continue to ride. Okay.
As for Ruhan Vissa, when does he fight again?
He's going to fight the same time that Sorenko fights.
Fantastic.
We're here in Vegas together. You know, we're living together, working together. We're together. We're together at least 18 hours out of the day.
Okay. Okay. What are your thoughts on Luis Ortiz? Is he really a drug cheat, or do you think he's been set up?
This is the 3rd time he's been busted. What do you think?
You kind of knew it was going to happen, didn't you? Though, I mean, you know,
I kind of knew it was going to happen. Wilder got to be, I don't know whether the luckiest guy in the world or a beast, because Povetkin, he went out strike free with Deontay, and Ortiz is up to strike free with Deontay. I think they need to. I think that the sport needs to come together and says, okay, enough is enough. You're out. Ban these guys for life. The sport doesn't need that kind of nonsense. Ban them for life. Ban them for life. That's the only way to correct this thing. And I just don't understand why they don't step up and create this ban. I don't understand that. It's like drunk drivers. Drunk drivers have murdered people. When I say murder, not kill, murder. Because if you get behind the wheel drunk and you know when you're drunk, then you're going out and murdering somebody. And so you look at all of the people that have been murdered over the years by drunk driving, and you ask yourself, well, why don't they make drunk driving a felony? My answer is because so many politicians, movie stars, singers are involved in that. And none of the states want to come up and make it a felony because so many politicians, movie stars, singers, and different kind of entertainers are involved in that kind of stuff. You can make that drunk driving a felony overnight. You're talking about a gun control ban. How about a drunk driving control ban? You got drunk drivers that commit murders all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they get a slap on the wrist. Okay, we're going to give you 18 months in house arrest. House arrest. And people lose their lives. So drug cheats in any sport should not be tolerated. And the establishment needs to step up and say, look, you're banned for life. Get out of here. We don't need that.
They also tried to accuse Stavern of the drug cheating as well, but I got to see the information behind the scenes, and it's all smoke and mirrors. There was nothing in it.
Right.
So I just wonder whether everybody that comes up against Wilder is going to get done for drug cheating. You just wonder now.
I'm probably a dinosaur, but I believe in good old-fashioned work.
Yeah.
Good old-fashioned diet, good old-fashioned work. And come to the dance with what you got.
Okay. I'm going to bring in our second guest, if it's okay, Uncle Bashir.
Certainly bring him in.
Amir Mansour. See if we can get him in, because I don't know what happened. He sort of disappeared. Uncle Amir, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, calling now.
I mean, we're in. We're calling now. We're talking to you now.
You want me to call you? You want me to call you, or you calling me?
We're calling you now.
Okay, cool. What's up?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Uncle Bashir, heavyweight contender, big punching, Amir Mansour's on the line. Amir, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. Good. Thank y'all for having me back, man. What's up, Big On? Long time no see, man. Assalamu alaikum.
I'm good. I'm in Vegas. I'm in Walaikum Salam. I'm in Vegas.
Great stuff.
I didn't hear him. Yeah.
He says he's in Vegas.
Oh, he in Vegas? Oh, okay. I'm in D.C., man. I'm in D.C.
What you doing? What do
you already know, man. Staying ready. Staying ready, man. We knew something was going on with the Wilder Ortiz fight, and we actually had got a little message saying, stay ready, you know what I mean? And then up pops the failed test. So, I'm just hoping that we can make this fight, you know what I mean? You and I both know our brother done deserved it, you know what I'm saying? Many moons and many fights ago. But, having said that, I'm just trying to do like everybody else that won a bunch of little titles. I'm trying to upgrade my title to the world title. You know what I'm saying? It seems like everybody else gets the opportunity to upgrade these little titles except for Hardcore Mansour, man. And, we know the reason why, but at the same time, we can't accept that, Can't accept, a man is too dangerous, so that's why he's not getting this shot. You know what I mean? I got kids to feed, man. I got a family to take care of. I got a life to live, you know. And you know, you give too much of yourself to the sport, and it got to give you something back.
Yeah, it's true. I agree. I certainly agree. I'd like to see you fight somebody too.
So Amir, according to Dillian Whyte, who's listened to his interview today, he said he'd fight anybody. So
Dillian Whyte is talking for the press. He's talking for the press. See, one thing about Amir Mansour, there's not a fighter on earth that can say, I turned down a fight with them, except the rematch with Gerald Washington, and that turn down was mutual between him and I, because we just wasn't getting paid anything to have a rematch. Other than that, I have never ever in my life turned down a fight. Dillian Whyte could have fought me his last fight. He told the promoters, I don't want to fight a southpaw, I want to fight a tall lefty. I want to fight a tall right-hander. That is the exact words they gave me when he was asked to fight me. And so Dillian Whyte is just talking for the people, man. See, one thing about me is everything that I tell you is 100% right and exact. It's actual fact. It's actual truth. I don't have to put on a brigade. I don't have to put on a performance, you know, outside the ring or inside the ring. I'm 100. Dillian Whyte could have fought me. He still can fight me. Isn't he looking for an opponent?
I believe so.
Isn't he looking for an opponent?
I believe.
I mean, October the 26th and 28th?
I think, yeah, something, or November, October or November.
Exactly. Okay, then we tell Dillian Whyte to tell his promoter he wants Amir Mansour next. That's all. You know what I'm saying? But see, what they'll do is, just to save face, they'll call you and say, hey, okay, you want to fight Dillian? We'll let you fight Dillian. We're going to pay you enough to buy a pair of sneakers and a T-shirt. You understand? So they know you're going to turn it down. And that would be the only reason why I would turn down a fight with anybody on this entire planet, is if, you know, the money just didn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? If this just didn't make sense, then no, I'm not going to fight you. You know what I'm saying? We get paid to fight. That's our livelihood. This is our job. So, you know, you're not going to bring me in and pay me pennies. So, having said that, I'm telling you, on the air, whatever, I will fight Dillian Whyte any day, anytime. He know he don't want to see me. His corner, they know that they don't want to see him in the ring with me. You understand? He had his shot. I look at it like this. Look, he had his shot. He got his ass whooped by Anthony Joshua. I'm trying to fight the world champ. I'm not trying to fight somebody that the world champ done beat up already. You understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to fight somebody better than Dillian Whyte. I'm trying to fight the world champs out here. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get a world title shot. I'm not trying to fight nobody for just bragging rights. But if they call me to fight Dillian Whyte and the money is decent, not, you know, astronomical, but decent, at a minimum, just decent, I will say yes.
Would you fight Deontay Wilder as a replacement for Luis Ortiz?
Man, are you listening to me, man? That's what I'm trying to do. You understand? My promoter been calling, you know, Lou DiBella. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to go, man. We're trying to get in there. You know what I'm saying? He the WBC world champ. I'm the United States WBC champ. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, my last fight, they billed that as an elimination bout. And you know what I mean? If Kaufman would have won, I guarantee him and Wilder would probably done fought already. Or they would be getting ready to fight. You understand? But because the dangerous guy wins, well, you know, no mentioning anymore of an elimination bout. No mention anymore of on their way to a world title shot. You understand? So, of course, get in as a replacement. Damn right we're trying to get in as a replacement. It wouldn't even make sense if my team wasn't trying to get in and replace our team.
So you said that you had a funny feeling this Ortiz fight would fall through. When did you get the inkling that was going to happen?
About 2 weeks ago. somebody called me and said, hey, stay in the gym, be ready. Anything happen with this fight, we're going to call you. And then I look up and Ortiz doesn't show up to the press conference. You understand? So, obviously, they knew way back then that Ortiz failed that test. But the thing is with Ortiz, and see, I'm not going to kick no man just because I want his spot. I wish the best for all my brothers. See, one thing about me, as a fighter, I'll do whatever I can do to get you out the way or to get in front of you. But at the end of the day, I don't forget that I'm a man and that we all human beings and we all got families. And just like I got a family to feed, they got a family to feed. Ortiz didn't get caught with drugs in the system. Ortiz got caught with, well, banned drugs in the system. Ortiz, high blood pressure medication that is often used to mask steroid use. You understand? So they banned that substance so that nobody could use that substance and then hide the fact that they're using steroids. So he didn't actually get caught using steroids. He got caught using a blood pressure medicine that people take for, high blood pressure. And I guess it makes you urinate a lot. It makes you urinate a lot and it flushes your system a lot. You understand? And that is what he got caught using. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to be honest with you, man. While I would love to fight Wilder, love to fight Wilder, as a fighter, I hope that I end up fighting him. I hope Ortiz don't get the fight. But as a man and as a human being, as a compassionate person, I hope that right there, if it's the truth, and he really was taking that medication for his blood pressure, I hope and pray, man, that the man can continue on his journey to be heavyweight champion of the world. You know what I mean? And because at the end of the day, man, we brothers, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We men. You know what I mean? Outside of this fighting, and so I don't forget that. I don't forget the fact that I'm a man and I have a family to feed, and that all these gentlemen are men and they have families to feed as well. Business wise, man. Come on, man. I don't fight. I don't turn down no fight. You know what I'm saying? I've had all hard fights. You don't see no tomato cans in my last 10, 15 fights. You don't see no tomato cans. You understand? I fight hard fights because I don't duck no wreck. And that's why I've won 6 titles, because I fight hard fights. I've been in hard fights. I've been in, the little junior title matches. I've won all those little belts. 9 times out of 10 fighters who wins one of these titles ends up getting his world title shot. I've won 6 of them, and I haven't gotten my shot yet. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So, at the end of the day, man, I know what I'm going through, and I know the obstacles that I have to hurdle, but I'm not going to try and jump in the spot on another man's shortcoming, on another man's, mistake or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey, if Ortiz isn't doping and he's clean and he just used that medication for blood pressure, I hope and pray that the man continues on his quest to be heavyweight champion of the world. And like I told you before, I hope that Ortiz wins, because he is one of the only fighters that has agreed to fight me, no hesitation. Him and I were going to fight on 2 different occasions. You understand?
Sure.
And each time he was ready. He was ready to go. He would fight. So I believe that if this man is world champion and my name comes across the board, he ain't going to duck me. He going to go. You know what I'm saying? So I hope if I don't get the Wilder fight, I hope he does get it, and I hope he's successful.
Uncle Bashir, what are your thoughts on what Amir has been saying about the blood pressure thing to mask the PEDs? What are your thoughts on it in your experience?
Well, I don't have much insight to the masking and the blood pressure. This is the first that I've heard of using the blood pressure medicine for masking, but Amir sounds like he's in-depth knowledge, has in-depth knowledge about what he's talking about. So I have no recourse but to believe him.
The whole thing about Luis Ortiz's age, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, on Box Circuit it says he's 37. Amir says he's older than him. What are your thoughts on Luis Ortiz?
Well, a lot of boxers coming out of Cuba and different parts of the world, like Africa. You take what the age thing with a grain of salt. You know, you never know how old they are. The fact of the matter is, can they perform? To me, age is not the difference. What kind of performance can they put down? You know, but nobody really knows how old these guys are. You know, you're coming out of Ghana, Nigeria, and different places. People got different ages. They put up an age. That's the age that the people got to accept. But nobody really knows. Performance, it boils down to performance. What happens when the lights come on? That's what it boils down to. Exactly.
Gentlemen, I'm going to ask you for both.
That's why I told you put me on the show with me. You know what I'm saying? Because I need somebody to clarify things that I've said, and not nobody that's going yes man. You know what I mean?
We don't do.
I'm wrong. He correct me. He gonna be 100. Man. He's another genuine person. He gonna be 100.
We don't do yes men on this show. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Let's talk about a fight. Both of you gentlemen. Talk about Hughie Fury versus Joseph Parker. I'll start with you first, Uncle Bashir.
I think that just as I thought from the beginning, I told you from the beginning that Hughie Fury just wasn't active enough, and then they was making some people was making comparisons to Hughie Fury boxing like Muhammad Ali. I said, well, when was he boxing like Muhammad Ali when Muhammad was 10? Because he certainly wasn't boxing like the Muhammad that I knew, and the Muhammad that I spent years in a camp with. Lost that fight, and I think that Joseph Parker is there for the taking. I think that Amir would do a great job. I think his likelihood of getting Joseph Parker would be more easier than Wilder. I think that would be an easier bout for him to get, because Joseph Parker to me looked very, very vulnerable, very, very vulnerable. Hughie Fury, the jury is out on Hughie Fury. He had his opportunity. People saw a fight that I didn't see. People kept complaining that he won the fight. I didn't see that. I'm not perfect, but I didn't see that. And I wasn't really favorable about the kind of fight that Hughie Fury fought. He had an opportunity at bat. Nothing happened. Hey, we moving on.
Okay. Amir, I know that you said in our previous interview that you called Hughie Fury a bum and you called Joseph Parker a bum. What are your thoughts now?
They still bum. You just saw two bums boxing. That's all. I mean, what the hell? You saw two bums boxing. If I, do in the ring from off the street, man, and put a belt around their waist and told you this was the title fight, you know what I mean? And everybody tuned in and watched it, they might have more heart than the average fighter out here. You know what I'm saying? They might slug it out to the dirty end. They might get knocked down, get up, one knocked down, get up. Might be more exciting than some of these real championship fights you see. You know what I'm saying? But they still too bummed. They still don't know how to box. You understand what I'm saying? They just know how to fight. And that's all it was in that case. They just know how to fight a little bit. But they're not the type of talent that we should be seeing fighting for a heavyweight title. And Parker's not. Let me just say this. Parker did what he had to do to win the title. I got to give it to the man. He did what he had to do to win the title. And obviously he did what he had to do to keep it. You know what I'm saying? And he has accomplished the dream of every fighter. He became world champion. You know what I mean? So I can't take that away from the man. But when I leverage my skills against a lot of these guys' skills, you know what I'm saying? To me, they're not that good. They're not that good. They're not the type of world champions that I grew up seeing. They're not the type of world champions that I care to watch when they fight. You know what I'm saying? They're just not the type of world champion fighters that they really don't belong in that class of world champion. If you ask me, that's just my personal opinion. But at the end of the day, Parker did what he had to do to become world champion, so I can't take that away from him. I gotta respect the fact that he's on that podium, and until somebody knocks him off, he's going to stay on it.
There are murmurs, and the source is Eddie Hearn, so I can't really take that too seriously. But there are murmurs that Stavern would get reinstalled to be the next guy to fight Wilder instead of the Brazil fight. What are your thoughts if that were to happen?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I wouldn't be surprised at all, you know. I think what it all boils down to, I think that Stavern had a rematch clause when Wilder took the title from him,
right?
And obviously Wilder hasn't fought him since. But you know, from bits and pieces of information I received, the reason why Wilder didn't fight him again, it isn't because he was scared of the rematch. It's because no networks want to see Stavern's bum ass fight. And I had to scream that. No networks want to see Stavern, man. They don't want to see him, man. They don't want to put that money up to see Stavern fight, man. I mean, it's just that simple. I'm sorry, you know. I mean, I think Stavern is a decent fighter, you know. He's really a bum, and when I do my bum category, he's a bum. But you know, he can punch hard. You know what I mean? He doesn't have a lot of boxing skills. He's not fast. He's not fast on his feet. He doesn't show, you know, that championship quality, in my opinion. I mean, come on, he beat Chris Arreola for the heavyweight championship of the world, and Chris Arreola thinks slow bum, was whooping his ass for 8 rounds. If he didn't knock Arreola out, he was going to lose the fight. So when you got a guy like Chris Arreola outboxing you, I mean, really clearly clinching every round, outboxing you, to me, in my opinion, you're not that good of a boxer. You just could fight a little bit and you hit hard. You know what I'm saying? Endure an ass whooping, because he endured the ass whooping for those 8 rounds. And before, when he fought Wilder for the title, I told everybody, and you could go back into the archives of FightHype.com or whatever, whoever I did interviews with, I said, if Stavern fights Wilder the way he fought Chris Arreola, and he don't add something to his repertoire, he don't add something to his ammunition, to his style, to his fight, Wilder's going to have a real easy night beating him. And sure enough, Wilder had a real easy night beating him. All the dude do is walk forward and throw haymakers. What else does he do? He doesn't jab. He doesn't move his head. He doesn't move his feet. He doesn't stay busy. He doesn't throw a lot of punches. All he know how to do is go forward, throw hard punches, and take an ass whooping. So, what do you want me to say? If he ends back up in the mandatory position, it might be because he had a mandatory rematch clause in his contract, and he's been getting a little step-aside money every time Wilder fought after that. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm only assuming that much on the business aspect of it, but the reality is that no network want to see Stavern fight again, man. He had his chance, man, and he blew it. He might as well just gave Deontay the damn belt. Just handed it to him. I mean, in my opinion, you defending your heavyweight championship title of the world, and you go back and look at the effort that Stavern put forth in defending his title against Wilder, and you would agree. Come on, man. He ain't do shit.
A couple of things. Uncle Bashir first, your thoughts?
My thought is that, you know, he's got the hustle in this fight with Brazil, or he's got the hustle in the rematch with, you know, he cannot fight the same kind of fight that he fought the first fight against Deontay, or it'll be the same result or even worse. Exactly. That's what I think it is.
What about Amir Mansour?
How you gonna be the long, tall guy like Deontay? You just walking forward. You ain't even moving your head. You just walking forward, trying to show everybody that you can take his best punch. That's all you're proving. You're not proving to anybody that you can beat him. You're not proving to anybody that you're a great fighter. You're just proving that I can take his punch for 12 rounds straight and keep moving forward.
At this point,
more. Like you say, you got to be busy. You got to add something to that.
At this point, I would scrap the Stiverne Brazil fight, and I would rather watch Stiverne versus Mansour, to be honest with you.
Stiverne ain't busy enough for me, man.
Well, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because he's just a strong. Why would he take Mansour?
Just not active enough for
Hold on.
Mansour.
If he doesn't.
Hold on. Go ahead. Go ahead, Uncle. Say that again, Uncle.
Why would Stiverne take a challenge like Mansour in the #1 spot? I wouldn't do it. And the intelligence would do it.
Cool.
At the end of the day, it's about dollars and cents. And I Stiverne going down that road, even taking a look at Mansour, even taking a look at him.
Look away then.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what they do, man? They see me coming, they better look away. I'm too hungry, man. I'm too hungry. You know what I'm saying? They done kept me on the sidelines too long, man. You know what I mean? They could put me in the middle of the Sahara Desert and put a lion up against me, man. I'm a rock with that joker, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm hungry, man. You know, these dudes not hungry no more. A lot of them been spoiled. A lot of them been just having their way real easy. I didn't have nothing easy, man. You know what I'm saying? And I still don't. And I'm still hungry. You know what I mean? I still love this sport. You know what I'm saying?
On the real.
You could tell when you see a lot of these guys fights, man. They just not hungry anymore.
Okay.
You know?
Let me.
Seen a video Wilder. He's on the goddamn beach. You're supposed to be defending your title November 4th. You know you got to come to that date whether you fight Ortiz or not. He's on the beach talking about he had to get away. You understand what I'm saying? Dudes ain't serious no more, man. They not hungry anymore. When you lose that hunger, and I'm sure Uncle tell you, any fighter, I don't care how good you are, when you lose that hunger to win, you lose that hunger, you know what I'm saying, to make sure you win in that ring, when you lose that hunger, you ain't gonna go up. You can't beat a guy that's hungry. You can't beat a guy that stays in the gym. You can't beat a guy that's just as good as you, that's focused. You know what I'm saying? You just can't do it when you lose your hunger. And these dudes lose their hunger, man. They get comfortable.
Let me ask you a question. You talked about being hungry and being in the gym. What's your fighting weight at the moment?
I like to come in between 220 and 223 tops. That's what I like to come in. Right now, I'm at 230 because when I train, I lose a lot of weight. So I stay a little heavy. You understand what I'm saying? But I like to come in, 220, no more than 223. If I could get to 219, that's my sweet spot. You know what I'm saying? So I'm at a weight where, if I get a call and I gotta go and I gotta turn it up for 2 more weeks, that little 10 pounds will just fall right off of me. You know what I'm saying?
So how long does it take for you to get into optimum shape to fight now?
Well, like I said, when you stay hungry, you go on my Facebook page, man. I stay working out. I stay training. You know what I'm saying? I can go out right now tomorrow. If they pay me enough money, I'll go run 26.2 miles. I'll go run a marathon and finish. I won't win, but I'll finish. I stay in shape. I stay ready because I know what these guys is thinking. If they fight Amir, let's call this joker, let's call him up and give him a 2-week notice. Let's call him up and give him a week notice. I got this told you. They tried to get me to fight Oscar Rivas with a 5-day notice. And I would have took I would have took it. Trust me, I would have took it. But they were trying to pay me enough where I probably could get a sweatsuit, t-shirt, and a pair of drawers.
Is that all from the dollar store? Is that all from the dollar store?
Excuse me?
Is that all from the dollar store, the amount of money they're trying to pay you?
Nah, man, not even the dollar store. I gotta go get it at aisle 6 in Rite Aid or, you know, Ecker Drugs somewhere. I gotta go to, you know, IGA or something, man, or ShopRite and get it, you know? You can't go to even the dollar store with the money they was trying to give me.
So, have you tried to talk to Eddie Hearn? Because he's the guy that's got Dillian Whyte. He's the guy that's got Anthony Joshua's, you know? I mean, we tried to...
You know what's crazy, man?
Okay.
And you're not the first person, and like some serious business people have approached me and said, look, man, you need to talk to Eddie Hearn. You need to talk to Eddie Hearn. So I'm hearing Eddie Hearn's name a lot. And I know that Eddie Hearn has heard my name more often than usual in the past couple weeks. So maybe me and Eddie Hearn will end up talking one day. I don't know. I would love to talk to him, though.
Okay, well, I think that's the way to get the fight. If Dillian Whyte is listening to you now, this message now, what's your message to Dillian Whyte?
Dillian, as men, we respect each other. And so I'm never going to disrespect my brother as a man. But once we call ourselves fighters, all bets are off. There's nothing, there's no such thing as, man, respect me, I'm a boxer. No, you and I are fighters. You know that you could have fought me. And you know you still can fight me if you want to. I understand on the business aspect, I'm too dangerous and this and that. But if that is the case, don't be getting up on no interview saying, oh, I'll fight Mansour. Don't say that when you know goddamn well you won't. You don't want to see me, so don't say you will. I want to see you, and I will. So I can talk that shit. But don't talk no shit with Amir Mansour when you know when they call me up and call you up, you say no. See, that's what sets me apart from a lot of these fighters. Whatever I say in an interview, I could back it up. See, these dudes, they just talk for the people. They just talk for the reputation or whatever. I don't do that. I don't need to do that. I don't feel a need to do that. You know, when if they call me and tell me it's on with me and Dillian Whyte, and they not trying to send me to the corner store to go shopping, I want to say yes without any hesitation whatsoever. And I'll give you my word on that. And if I don't, Dillian can call y'all up and say, hey, we just asked Amir to fight me, and the pussy said no. I warrant him to do that.
Okay. Do you have a message for Deontay Wilder, the Bronze Bomber?
I got a message for every heavyweight world champion right now. Here's the message to you brothers, man. If you keep cherry picking and you don't fight the best, we never going to see the days that Mike Tyson saw, Evander Holyfield saw, Riddick Bowe saw, Larry Holmes saw, even Muhammad Ali saw. We're in a heavyweight era where guys was making 10 times as much as we make today 20 years ago. We are the only sport on the planet that's professional that has not benefited from inflation. We are the only professional sport in the world, in the history of the world, in the total history of the world. Even cricket players are getting more money than we get, than their counterparts were getting 20 years ago. Even a damn ping pong player is getting more money than their counterparts were getting 20 years ago. Everybody getting more money than their counterparts were getting 20 years ago, except for the heavyweights in this world right now. And you know why? because everybody wanted to pick the easiest fight. Everybody wanted to keep picking the easiest fight. And I've been saying this for years. And that is one of the reasons why I will not refuse a fight if I'm called up on a fight and the money's right. You can't call me for no dime. You got to pay me. And I'm going to come and I'm going to give it all I got. Win, lose, or draw, I'm going to give it all I got. But having said that, if these guys don't start bringing some excitement into the heavyweight division, and the only way they can do that is by fighting like that. All this cherry picking shit that Klitschko did, and I know that's your man, but he cherry picked for fucking 10 years straight, and he dumped down the heavyweight division. And so for the first time in heavyweight history, you had a heavyweight championship fight of the world nobody really was interested in watching. And then these guys come behind Klitschko, and they want to do the same thing. I want to be heavyweight champion for 10 years too. How do I do it? Easy. Fight the weakest opponent. Fight the weakest competition. I want to say that that's what Klitschko did all the time. Because believe it or not, in my opinion, he had harder fights before he became world champion than he did during his run as world champion. The man fought better talent on his way to become world champion than he actually did once he became world champion. And I challenge anybody to disagree with that because it's all in the records, it's all on paper.
What about Povetkin? That was a tough, good fight. Povetkin when he was champion.
Povetkin a goddamn bump, man. Steroid user, man. He's a bump. He's not no good fighter.
Samuel Peter.
And you should be strong because you're shooting a bunch of fucking goddamn steroids.
Samuel Peter.
So you should be strong. Can you imagine me on steroids as hard as I hit already naturally? And I'm on steroids? I'd probably be done killed some damn body by now. You understand? So I don't give Povetkin no fucking props. Fuck him.
Samuel Peter.
Samuel Peters didn't. He whooped Samuel ass, man.
Samuel dropped him twice though, and
Samuel got comfortable. Listen, Samuel was a better fighter on his way to becoming fighting for the championship than he actually was when he fought for the championship. Just look at the tapes; it's there. I study this sport. I'm a boxing fan. Don't forget that. I am a fan of this sport. I love this sport. I love doing it. Samuel Peter had better performances on his way to fighting for the world championship. He actually did when he performed to fight for the world championship. He got comfortable. He lost his hunger. And I was close to some people that was in his corner at the time and was on his team at the time. He got lazy and he got comfortable and he lost his hunger.
Uncle Bashir, your platform, jump in. Say what you've got to say.
I'm listening. I'm a fan too. I feel the same way. I think that Amir Mansour is the modern day Joe Frazier. You know, Joe Frazier would fight anybody at the drop of a hat, anywhere, anytime, and he didn't make any differential about it. You know, boxing has become more of a business than it has for the love of the sake of the fan. It has become more of a business. But Amir is the Joe Frazier, and I always felt that way about him. I always felt that a lot of guys were avoiding him because in Joe Frazier's days, Joe Frazier said, "I'm too good for my own good." You know?
Exactly.
He gets down, he makes stuff happen, and then guys see and say, "I don't want that. I don't want to work like that. I don't want to put out that kind of effort to be who I am." You know? I mean, if you're going to do something, you're going to say something, and you're going to do something, then you have to apply yourself in and out of the ring. And Amir does that. You know, what can I say? You know, he's a very good fighter. And perhaps that these guys are trying to let him get old. You know, and because of his attitude, he just won't get old. You know, he won't get old.
I mean, how powerful, what can your team do to get you into that position to fight Wilder should the Ortiz fight not happen? What can your team do?
All they could do, man, is make their case. You know what I'm saying? All they could do is contact his people and try to make the fight. That's it. I mean, they could do no more and no less than anybody else that's jockeying for that position. You know what I'm saying? They can't sue them. They can't threaten them. You know what I'm saying? The only thing they can do is implore that, look, man, this is one of the best fights that he should take. I mean, here's what we bring to the table. And I sound a little repetitive because I told you guys this before, but this is all, see, a lot of things that I say, I can back them up on black and white. I don't just talk trash. You understand? Mm-hmm. And I talk my shit now, but I don't just talk trash. Everything I say, I can back it up.
Right.
I told you when I fought Gerald Washington in 2015, Fox Sports told us these are the highest ratings that we ever had at this point for any PBC fight. You're the most watched fighter on our show at this point. That's two years ago. You understand?
Yes.
When I fought Brazil, the ratings went through the ceiling when me and Brazil fought and went back down and leveled out for the main event. Those words are Brian Kennedy's verbatim. So what we bring to the table, then no other heavyweight over here can bring, and no other heavyweight except maybe Joshua, is that people tune in to watch me fight. It blows my mind. You understand? Me and Steve Cunningham fought NBC Sports. At that time, we had the most watched boxing match in the history of NBC Sports. Can you believe that?
Wow.
We broke the fucking record. When I got the highest ratings of any heavyweight ever watched on ESPN Friday Night Fights. You understand? People tune in to watch Amir Mansour fight. I am the American dream, man. A brother, he gets locked up, he goes to prison for 8.5 years, he comes home, he's knocking people out, he's winning titles, he's got his life together, he's at jail speaking to little kids, teenage kids, grown men, you know what I mean? Go to schools, he speak at schools, he speak at colleges, you understand what I'm saying? This is the American dream, when you could be lower than dust and rise like a phoenix. This is the American dream, and the American people believe in that. And one thing that sets this country apart from any other country in the world, you don't have to be born rich in order to end up rich. You don't have to be born loved in order to end up loved. You don't have to be born right in order to end up right. You understand what I'm saying? And so this what sets the American dream apart from the Japanese dream, the Chinese dream, the European dream, the African dream. This is a country that people understand my process, my life, my story, and they get behind that, man. And so I have a lot of supporters over here. So we bring something to the people that the networks need to see. People gonna watch this fight? Yes, they're gonna watch this fight more than they would watch Wilder and Ortiz, actually, you know, because I have a history of higher views, higher TV ratings than both of them, actually. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's what we bring to the table that no other heavyweight can bring, and hopefully they bite on that. See, that's what I tell you. It don't make no sense for this man not to have already even fought me, man, except for the fact that I'm just too good for my own good. I hate to say it. I really do. I really hate to say it. I think that's the worst thing to tell any athlete. You're too good for your own good. Like I said, that's like telling LeBron James, you can't play no more, man. You're too good. Michael Jordan, imagine if they cut Jordan's career short because he just was too good. That's it. That's no other reason. He's just too good.
So
you can't play in the NFL. You run too fast. We gotta get you off this team. You're too fast. Every time you get the ball, you score a touchdown. You're too fast. You know what I'm saying? And so we bring everything that's legitimate in a heavyweight title fight, a heavyweight championship of the world. We bring everything that's legitimate to the table, man. So hopefully, you know, if Ortiz don't get the fight, we get it. If we don't, the only thing that Amir Mansour can do is keep moving forward. I don't surrender. There's no quit in me. You understand? Mm-hmm. So all I can do is keep doing what I'm doing, man, and remain the USA WBC champ and keep hoping I get to upgrade my title like everybody else do.
So do you think, would it be wise for you to get yourself into the best shape possible now so that you're not caught unaware?
Well, you know, I post videos of working out, right? So people know that I'm always working out. I'm always doing something.
Right.
I really, at this point, I don't even like letting these guys know if I'm in shape or not, man. You know, I take pictures. I try to stick my stomach out as much as I can now. You understand? And it's sad, but I do it consciously. I actually do it because I want these jokers to think that they could go ahead and call me and give me a 2-week notice or a week notice. And when that money right and it makes sense, I'm coming and I'm coming to win.
Okay. Uncle Bashir, have you got anything to say about this?
No, not at all. I'm the audience. It's my guy.
Come on, talk to me. I told him, I said, man, I need to be on with Big Unc, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't seen you in a long time. You always send me real good information on Facebook, man. You probably don't think I'll be listening to you when you decide to drop.
No.
But I always take
I
everything
know.
you say to heart, man. Let me
that,
tell you something, man.
A few years back that you asked me to train you, you know, and I'm sorry I couldn't. I'm sorry I couldn't train you. You're a good fighter. You're a good fighter. You know, I think we would have made good music together. You know, because we have a lot in common. We both put our best foot forward in an effort to be the best, you know. I don't just want to be some mediocre guy lost in the crowd. I want to give my best. And when they throw the dirt on me, they just say that's a guy that gave his best, the best that he had. I've got 46 years in this profession. And I know a fighter when I see one. I know who has the goods and I know who don't. That's the way the story is.
So, Uncle Bashir, how would you, if you had opportunity to manage Amir Mansour now, what would you be telling Amir now? What would you advise him to do now?
To contact Eddie Hearn. Because he seems to be holding all of the cards. All the cards. You know, he's holding all the cards. Him and Heyman. Contact Eddie Hearn to try to make the fight at least with Dillian Whyte. You know, to try to make that fight. Got the ace of spades, man. To make that fight, and I believe that Eddie Hearn is a fair guy. That he'll give you good money for the fight.
Okay.
You know, because Dillian Whyte is kicking up, making noise about this, but prove yourself. All right, so just contact Eddie Hearn and make the move. You know, I hear you, brother.
Uncle Bashir just disappeared there. I don't know. He's offline. Yeah, he's just disappeared. Uncle Bashir, talk to me about the time where Uncle Bashir, you asked Uncle Bashir to train you.
We actually I didn't necessarily ask him to train me. Him and I, you know what? I think I did. Correction, I think I did. I met him.
Here comes Uncle. He's back.
I met him years ago, and we talked on the phone for a while, and we would often talk, and like he always gave me real good information, man, because you know he's Muslim, and so he always kept me motivated, man, and he always gave me real good information. I was like, man, I would like to, you know, be with this guy every day in the gym. You know what I'm saying? And so we did talk about him training me, but I think he just came from South Africa, didn't he? Like he was always on the move, and then he had.
I was training Eddie Chambers.
He had Eddie Chambers, and
I was training Eddie Chambers at the time. That's what it was.
I think you went overseas.
That's the only reason that we didn't hook up is because I was training Eddie Chambers.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I knew it was something. It was something. You know what I'm saying? And then at that time, Eddie was my kind of guy. You know, Eddie was in the heavyweight division.
He not only practices the sport, but he's a fan of the sport. So he's my kind of guy. We're much alike in many ways. You know, the way we view things, the way we do things, our passion for the sport. It's not just making money, but there's a passion for the sport. And that's the kind of people I want to work with. People that, you know, like a lot of guys I work with, I say, did you see the fight last night? They said, what fight? then when I mention the fighter's name, they don't know nothing about the fight. I'm saying, well, what kind of guy, what kind of boxer is this that don't know about the fight that happened last night? So I want to be aligned with people who have a passion for the sport. You know, people who don't have the passion for the sport, it's lackluster. It takes away from my incentive, my drive. You know, I have a very big drive in the sport, and I want to do the best that I can while I'm alive. When they throw the dirt on me, they say, hey, man, that guy gave his best.
Hey, let me tell you something. I've been sitting here trying to think of something that this man told me, and he told me in 2011. The first time him and I talked, 2011, the reason why I remember this at the time is because I was living in a certain place when him and I spoke on the phone. It was 2011. Me and my brother was sharing a condo, and that's the first time I spoke to you guys here on the telephone. And I'm gonna remind you of the conversation. I think we hooked up on Facebook or something. We introduced ourselves on Facebook. I told you to call me. You called. I gave you my number. You called me, and because when I met you and you was with Eddie, you and I had already spoken several times on the phone. And I think I saw you with Eddie probably around 2014, 13. But the first time him and I spoke it was on the phone. It was 2011. You know what he told me? He said, and back here you're going to smile when I say this. He said, be very careful of those who love you. I can't go verbatim, but be very careful of those who love you. And sometimes the people that can hurt you most is the people that love you. The family and the friends can love you to death, literally. That's what he said. The family and friends can love you to death, literally. And he said, what I mean by that is, you know, they might not mean nothing by it, but, you know, sometimes when you're supposed to be rested, you know, they want time with you. They want you to come out. You know, sometimes you might have to go to the gym, you know, and they want your attention. And you end up not going to the gym. So be very careful, because those people can literally love you to death, and they can love you to death literally. You understand what I'm saying? And when he told me that, that was really the opening of the door where I felt like I really connected with him, and it let me know that I was dealing with a man with some wisdom. You know what I'm saying? And I love men, black men with wisdom. You understand what I'm saying? And I learned at an early age, always surround yourself with smart people, intelligent people, and not just people with intelligence and wisdom, but people that will listen to you as well. You understand what I'm saying? And we had a great conversation, but that was one of the things that he told me, family and friends, literally, and be careful of that. And that's one thing that I was able to protect myself from. I really was able to protect myself from, and that really was, you know, when somebody tell you something and it's a light bulb moment, like literally a light bulb moment. And that was a light bulb moment for me, man. So I know I thanked you for telling me that, but I think you again, man, you know, 5 years later, you know, 6 years later, rather, you know what I'm saying? I thank you again for telling me that, because it did save me. I'm sure it saved me from a lot of heartache and headache, man. Remember that conversation, Bashir? Well, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, so I do. I have a vivid memory of it. You know, I have a vivid memory of it. And then we saw each other in Joanne's gym where I had Eddie down there. You and Eddie boxed, I believe.
Exactly. But my point was, that was like the light bulb moment where I, you know, when you make me personally as a fighter, I can't train with nobody, work with nobody if I don't feel a connection. And just like he just told you, you know, he needs to have a connection with a fighter. You know what I mean? I can't be on planet A and you on planet B and work together. And that's when I felt a real connection with this man right here.
You got it.
That's another reason why I said, man, I ain't doing the show, man, unless you got your home going together.
Yeah, Uncle Bashir, and you.
Bashir got some wisdom, man. He's a good dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because I paid my dues. I didn't jump to the head of the line. I worked with some good trainers. I worked under good trainers over the years. I didn't go to the head of the line. And I'm passionate about the sport. I'm like you. I'm passionate about the sport. I have a deep down desire to be the best at what I do. And I'll pit the knowledge that I have against anybody that's out there. Because I know that it's earnest. I know that it's knowledgeable. I know that I'll always have it as a tangible resource for myself. That's just the way it is, I don't want to be Johnny come lately that does a lot of talking and doesn't do anything but spin his wheels. I'm a laborer. I've always rolled up my sleeve. I've always went in and did the work. I didn't come in when a guy was already at the top. I didn't come in when a guy was just already shining. I always got in when the dirty work had to be done. I got down and worked with the guy all the way up. That's the way I am. That's the way I'll be when I leave here, I'm not going to change.
I want to close this up, but before I close it up, the one question I'll ask both of you is, well, I've heard a story, and there are rumors that Errol Spence Jr. could be leaving Al Heyman, and the Al Heyman empire could be coming to an end. What are your thoughts on this? And we've seen already Danny Jacobs switch with now Eddie Hearn. What are your thoughts on this? Let's start with you first, Uncle Bashir.
Well, Al Heyman came in and he did some good things, I suppose. I didn't see anything bad about it, so I guess that the guy was good for the sport in some venues. But all good things come to an end. Don King was on top for a long time, and he came to an end. So I don't see what the difference is with anybody else coming to an end.
Okay. And Amir?
I definitely concur with Uncle Bashir. I concur with that. At the end of the day, Al Heyman doesn't need boxing. Boxing needs him. And, you got to, and all the beautiful things that he's done. See, a lot of times you guys don't get to talk to his fighters. Well, you get to interview them, but you don't get to talk to them personally. And obviously they don't get into personal things. The help that Heyman has given a lot of these guys. You just see him from a promoter standpoint. This man has befriended a lot of his fighters. He's really been, a great person to a lot of these fighters. So boxing needs Heyman. Heyman don't need boxing. And I don't know as far as his longevity in the sport. I would hate to see him go. That's all I know. But at the end of the day, like I said, man, we needed him, man. He didn't need us, you know what I'm saying? And he gave boxing something that we'll always remember, He's given us title fights in these lower divisions, lighter divisions. He's given us some great matchups, And I think he's going to continue to give us great matchups. He bought Ortiz contract, and now he has Wilder in front of one of the most formidable opponents that he's faced this far, And he has had Ortiz contract less than a year. You know what I mean? So we're seeing some great things happening, man. You know what I mean? With him, and we've seen some great things happening. So I just hope he's around, to stay. But I really can't comment on whether he's in it for the long haul or not. Maybe he's not. I don't know. And he might just really be ready to set Floyd up to be top man on the totem pole. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, even if he goes, you still have Mayweather, Sam Watson. You know, you still have those guys who represented PBC honorably, and I'm sure they're going to keep that legacy going, whether Heyman is there or not.
Okay. Uncle, you were going to say something?
Did you ask Amir what he thought about the Canelo Triple G fight?
What do you think of Canelo Triple G fight, Amir?
Wow. I did think that the fight was close, but I did think that Triple G should have won the fight.
Okay.
And you guys already know what I feel about Adele Bird. You know, she's the woman that when I fought Gerald Washington, she didn't give me one round.
Oh dear.
You know, she had Gerald Washington winning every single round. You know what I mean? And she has a long, long history of scoring fights opposite of her counterpart judges. And so, in my honest opinion, Golden Boy knew what the hell they was doing when they got her to come in and judge that fight. They knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. And she knew what they wanted from her. It didn't have to be a sit down. It didn't have to be a verbal agreement. She knew what she was there to do, and she did it.
Well, in my opinion, I told Ingram, I said that Canelo did some good things. He did some good things. He made him miss, and he made him pay. But having said that, you cannot win a championship fight fighting 1 minute, 30 seconds around. Triple G kept the pressure on him throughout the fight. He threw many more punches, and he landed many more punches. I'll bet they were not punches to the head, but they were punches on the arms, punches on the chest, punches to the body, and he put the pressure on effectively. That's why I gave him the fight. I scored the fight 116, 112. You know, I thought that he did an effective job making him back up.
For Golovkin.
Exactly.
I
agree, man. I agree. You know, like I said, it could have been, you know, you said 115, 112, so Triple G won 3 more rounds. That's close. You know what I mean? That's about right there. You know what I'm saying? And
no, but
I felt the same way, man.
118, 110 for Canelo. No, that was Adelaide Bird. She was also, I don't know what she was drinking. Maybe some snuff or something. But, you know, 118.
She wasn't drinking anything. This is what she does. Listen, it's going to take one of you guys that do these interviews, man. Seriously, man. Listen. Every fight, just like you can look up a fight and see who promoted it and see who fought each other, you can also see who the judges were in their scores. All you got to do, man, is look at Adele Bird's scores in every championship fight she scored in the last 5 years. Look how opposite she scores to her counterpart judges. This lady is the fix, and she's the fix, and she gets called in when it's time to put the fix in. And they know it, I think they said they suspended her for a little bit or whatever.
She'll be back.
You know what I'm saying?
Like a bad boomerang.
She needs to be charged. Her ass needs to be charged and banned from boxing. Look, if I'm a referee and I keep making a bunch of bullshit calls in the NBA, guess what? They're going to get me for point shaving. They're going to give me a federal charge and lock my ass up. If I get caught doing the same thing in Major League Baseball, they're going to lock my ass up. If I get caught doing the same thing in the NFL, they're going to lock me up. They ain't just going to suspend me or fire me or ban me. They're going to charge me as a criminal and incarcerate me. And here it is when it comes to boxing. When it comes to boxing, just tap her on the hand. It really don't matter. You understand? Because ain't nobody out here dying in this damn ring but Mexicans and blacks, man.
And the fact of the matter is that can't nobody reverse a judge's decision. I'm asking myself, well, what is the reason that we have modern technology? I can't wrap my brain around that. I can't wrap my
not to disagree with you. Here's the process. This is what they do. All right. When I lost to Steve Cunningham, this is the option that they gave. They said you could pay $10,000 to have the commission review the fight, right? And whether they agree that you won or not, you don't get your $10,000 back. So when you just pay a fighter $30,000 and he got a goddamn family to feed for the next 12 months, and you tell him he can pay $10,000 to get a fight check with the commission, he ain't doing that. He ain't just gonna give up no $10,000. You understand what I'm saying? If I were Triple G, I would probably exercise that right, or at the end of the day, just deal with it, because at the end of the day, man, listen, they know what's up, man. Everybody knows what's up. You know what I'm saying? They know what's up. They know the commission is sitting ringside, just right there with the judges. You know what I'm saying? The promoters are sitting right there with the judges. Everybody watched it just like you and me.
You go back to Holyfield versus Lennox Lewis the first time. All right? You go back to Pernell Whitaker versus Julio Cesar Chavez. These were clear decisions that should have been given to Lennox Lewis and to Pernell Whitaker, but somehow they came up as a draw, and nobody questioned it. Nobody did nothing about it. It was a draw. Exactly. And the fact of the matter is that the viewing audience and the boxing people that's involved with the fighters and the management, promotion, they got to go along with it. And there's nobody that can change this here. So something has to change about that. Because we have a forum now where we have modern technology, which you can see. You can plainly see who won the fight. Chavez didn't win the fight.
You got CompuBox. You know, you got CompuBox now. You know what I'm saying? And you're right. The reality is that even though there's a remedy in place to appeal a judge's decision, it's a remedy in place to fight a judge's decision. That remedy is only there on paper. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you 100%. Because at the end of the day, it's still nobody there to reverse a judge's decision, because nobody exercises that right. And even when they do, they're told to put up tens of thousands of dollars, and regardless of our decision, you're not going to get your money back.
Right.
So, you know.
So how do you deal with the drug cheats? Lucas Brown, Povetkin.
Exactly.
You know, the people, how do we deal with it? Do we ban them for life from the sport? Do we slap them on the wrist and say, okay, we'll give you a year off, you can come back and do the same thing again? Should there be a no tolerance rule in boxing? My thinking is that ban them for life. You ban Panama Lewis and Jose Resto for life. You ban them from the sport for life. You can't work the corner. You can't have nothing to do with being in that corner ever again. Way back when. But now you got people in the sport that's using drugs. And now nobody says nothing about it. Oh yeah, you can stay out a year, 2, and come on back and do the same thing again.
Exactly. Look at Povetkin. How many times this guy has been busted using steroids? And still, he's at the top of the chain. He's at the top of the fight game. He's at the top of the food chain when it comes to heavyweight division. He's still how this man to stay relevant. Look how many times he got caught.
Marius Mark was on drugs. Anabolic steroids. Marius Mark was on drugs when he fought Vladimir Klitschko, and he was allowed to come back. Then you have Margarito down there using plaster of Paris. He was allowed to come back. These are offenses that should be that people should be banned for life. Chance. They should not be given another chance. I'm sorry, you know. So There's a lot of
the first time, you know, even at the very least, if you get caught using a banned substance or anabolic steroids or steroids, period, even at a minimum, man, a bare minimum, okay, you got away with it the first time. But you got guys that are still relevant. I mean, they at the top of the chain. They rank the top 5 in the world when they on their third strike. You know, on a third strike. And so the message really is, boxing, I could be a judge and cheat. Boxing, I could be a ref and cheat. Boxing, I could be a promoter and still and cheat. Boxing, I could be a fighter and cheat. But any other sport, your ass going to jail.
Yes, sir.
You can't even get caught using steroids playing golf, playing tennis, playing baseball. You know what I'm saying? You get caught using steroids, playing football, basketball, they're going to ban you for life. You out of there. Boxing, you can do it over and over and over and over.
We're living in a master sport. One thing that they can't take away from you, knockouts. They can't, nobody mess with the knockout. That's what I train my fighters to do, to knock people out. And that includes being in good shape, having stamina, durability, to be agile, to be everything that's possible to knock the opponent out. And there's a lot of ways to get the knockout. We know that, you know, fatigue, you understand, resentment, frustration. There's a lot of ways to get that knockout. There's a lot of ways to make a guy go to the corner and sit on the stool and say, I ain't going back out there. I can't hit this guy. This guy hit me. So a lot of ways to get the knockout. So I'm training guys to knock people out so we don't have to leave it in the judge's hands.
And you know, that's crazy, man. Like, you know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing as a trainer to say, but isn't it so sad, man, that that's just the conversation for boxing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Imagine being a coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, and you know, you got to say, I got to train these guys to win by 2 points. If we ever win by 1 point, we lose the game. Can you imagine the Super Bowl, brother? And the winning, the team win by 1 point, but then the referees huddle up and say, "No, you lost the Super Bowl." Can you imagine the uproar, the idiocy, you know, just imagine the unfathomable
the gamblers, the uproar, the gamblers would make across this country.
Constantly in boxing. Imagine hitting a buzzer beater for the NBA Finals. You hit the buzzer beater, it goes in. You know what I'm saying? 3-pointer, buzzer beater, it goes in. Your team wins by 1 point. The crowd goes crazy. The referees huddle, come back and say, you lost.
Right.
And that happens consistently. Let something like that happen consistently in the NBA or the NFL or the Major League Baseball. It'll never go down because it's way too much gambling and money going on and too many people eating off of it. You know?
I'm gonna say this, and it's regulated. We'll be dead and gone 1,000 years before the sport of boxing changes. The only thing you can change is with your punches.
Right about
that. Knock the opponent out. To render the opponent unconscious. That's how you win.
Hey, man, it's been real with y'all, man. I love you, brothers, man. Love you, I gotta go, man.
Yep.
Thank you all.
You guys, man, I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And you know, like I told you before, man.
Yes.
Anytime you want me on your show, man, hit me up.
Yes, I'm here. Yes. I want to say thank you to both of you. Uncle Bashir, have you got anything else to say before we close?
No, I'm just here in Vegas, you know, waiting for Amir to come out here so I can get some work, man.
I'll tell you what, I tell you what, send me a number on the inbox. Send me a number, man, and I'm gonna give you a call. All right?
Yeah. Do that there. I'm out here with 2 young fighters. I got one Vista 6'9", 275. He's 13-1, 13 KOs. And I've got a Vlad Zarenko, young Ukrainian kid, 22 years old. He's 3-0, 3 KOs. And Vlad Zarenko would be good to work with you. He would definitely give you some good work, you know. And Ruan would give you good work too, because he's a big guy, you know, and all the guys he's going to oppose is big guys, you know. So I'll be glad to work with you. Anytime you're here, anytime you come in town, I'll be glad to work.
Fantastic.
All right, man. Hey, Unc, send your number in my inbox, man.
I'll send it. I'll send it. I got it sorted. I got it
Right.
sorted. Thank you to Amir Mansour and thank you to Uncle James Ali Bashir.
Yo, big up to all the UK fans over there, man. I love y'all, man. Thank y'all for supporting me over there. I get a lot of love from y'all. I get a lot of mail from y'all. I appreciate y'all. Do not go unnoticed. And big ups to my Poland fans. I love y'all. Y'all deep over there. I love y'all. Peace out, man.
Same thing here. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. He said it all. Good night.
Good night, Uncle Bashir. We did it. We managed to do it. We managed to get Uncle Bashir and Amir Mansour on the show. So you've heard it there. Amir Mansour, James Ali Bashir. As people said they heard snoring. I don't know where you heard snoring. But anyway, that's the end of the show from me. Thank you all for tuning in. Just to repeat, Amir Mansour said he'll fight Dillian Whyte wherever, whenever, as long as he gets paid right. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Another exclusive. This is IJ from BWTM Sports. Don't forget to check out our interview with Peter Fury, Tommy Frank, Liam Cameron. We're out. Take care.